What's good, YouTube LT, and welcome to episode 2 of I don't have a name, reacting to scary stuff, animated stuff. And this one is 3 unnerving Tinder horror stories animated. Oh, yeah. As we watch, how's your day going today? Okay.
My girlfriend left me 2 weeks before this. I know 2 weeks is not long enough to fully process a breakup and start using Tinder, but I was desperate.
Okay.
Within a few days, I had 2 girls I was talking to regularly. I asked them both out on a date for separate days, hoping one of them would be a good match for me. Unfortunately, the first one ghosted me though, so I was left with just the one, making me even more desperate.
Oh, Stephanie.
In her picture, she seemed like my perfect type. Blonde hair, blue eyes, and just really attractive. Her personality, however, left much to be desired, at least over text. She was bland and bad at conversation, but some people are just better in person, so I figured I'd give it a shot and continue with the date. I decided on a cheap restaurant that she agreed was close enough to her. On the night of the date, I got ready and drove down, then texted her that I was there and stood out in front of the restaurant.
And this is my
let's just watch this advert, it's so jolly, let's just lower the tension right now.
Star Stable, and the loser is going to eat a spoonful of
Star Stable.
Let's go.
Beautiful.
Oh, no. What is this smoke? Are we in Pandora?
I don't know. Where are we?
I was 5 minutes early, so I wasn't expecting her to show up right away. But after waiting for 20 minutes, I tried calling her. The phone rang for a few, then she answered. "Hey, where are you? I'm right outside the place," I said. I waited a few seconds. "Hello?"
It's a whole old man.
She hung up without saying a word.
Yep.
Great. Another girl ghosted me. I was embarrassed and annoyed. I got back in my car and drove home.
Oh, you got followed.
I made myself a bowl of cereal, then chilled on the couch and tried to forget about life for a while.
You got followed.
I passed out around 8, still on the couch. When I woke up, I reached for my phone to check the time, but I couldn't find it. I opened my eyes a bit wider and sat up, still searching for my phone. During my search, I caught something in the corner of my eye. My back door was slightly open.
I'm out.
Just barely,
I'm out.
not even enough to see through the crack between the door. But opened slightly enough so that it wasn't even with the wall.
I'm out.
Kind of like someone had pulled it partially closed so that it wouldn't make the click sound.
Oh my gosh.
I stood still, looking around. Everything felt like it became so quiet. I took one last quick search for my phone, then gave up and walked over to the back door. It was just as I'd said, barely not closed. I always kept every door locked, so this was a terrifying thing to see after napping just a few feet away. I thought maybe when the intruder saw me on the couch, they must have just left. But then I started thinking about my phone being gone. What if they'd stolen my phone? They would have had to be right in front of me, just inches away, probably watching me sleep. A shiver ran through my body. These thoughts were just making me more scared. I pushed the door shut and locked it, praying that whoever it was had already left.
Lock yourself in with the demon.
I then walked around the first floor, checking the rooms, but not finding anything worth noting. Then I went upstairs, which for some reason had me more scared. I walked down the hallway, looking in each room before I got to my bedroom. I looked around the room, under the bed, everywhere. No signs of anyone. I stepped back into the hall, closing the door. I just thought to myself how creepy this was and tried to think of the best way to contact the police without my phone. But then I heard something.
Oh my god.
Quiet, soft breathing, echoing inside the closet behind me. I froze.
I can't.
The longer I stood there, the more horrified I was. I ran for the stairs and went out the front door. There was a gas station at the end of the block, so I ran all the way there and got them to call the police.
Good.
By the time everything was settled, nobody was in my home anymore. My phone was still missing, but that was the only thing that was gone. My account was backed up though, so it wasn't too hard to get a new phone and transfer all of my apps and data. A few weeks later though, I went back on Tinder, and that's when I started putting pieces together. The girl that ghosted me and creepily answered my phone call no longer existed. I thought that it would actually be possible for them to have gone to the restaurant, but instead of meeting me, followed me home. As for why they took my phone, I'm not sure. The only reason I can really think of is so that I couldn't call the police or show them their account. There's still a lot that doesn't make sense though, like why they only took my phone, and what they were doing in my house while I was sleeping.
So, kids and, well, I don't know why I said kids, but people.
I'm a 26-year-old
I got no words. Let's go.
female, and at the time I was 23 and in college. I used Tinder throughout the second half of my college years. I wasn't exactly looking for a long-term relationship, but I also wasn't entirely avoiding it either. If things seemed more serious, then I'd try. Otherwise, we'd just have some fun and move on. After school on Friday, I went back to my dorm and sat in bed, swiping left and right on the app. I was hoping to have something to do over the weekend. After some time, one of the guys responded. We talked it up for an hour or so, then he asked me out on a date for Sunday night. I agreed, though it was rather quick to ask me out. We texted for a while longer, mostly about school and hobbies. He said he went to the same school as me, but was in the dorm building on the opposite side of the campus. Anyway, on Saturday we texted back and forth a few more times, and come Sunday, I met him at a popular restaurant not far from the campus. Over dinner, he didn't strike me as anything but a normal person. So normal that he was almost a little boring. I found him attractive though, and thought he was maybe holding back on a lot due to just meeting me.
Looking like Sasuke.
Once we finished, we went outside and set another date for the next week. As I said goodbye and started walking away, he asked me if I needed a ride home. Living in the dorms at the campus, I didn't have a car, so I just walked everywhere, including the restaurant. I was surprised he even had a car, since he lived at the school as well. But I was even more surprised that he offered me a ride. It seemed like he was trying to make his move for tonight, which I wasn't expecting. But seeing as I enjoyed my time with him, he was just like any other guy. I took him up on the offer. The campus was a 25-minute walk away, so if nothing else, at least I'd be back sooner. He showed me over to his car, which was just an older black Honda SUV.
Let me give you one piece of advice when you enter. Oh, she's at the back. I don't know about that. I'll be so for real. Let me give you some tips. If you're in a car, keep the window open. I don't care how cold it is. Keep that window open. If that's not good enough, don't close the door. Leave the door slightly open and just keep holding it. If you close the door, close the window, and a guy or girl is able to beat you, that's all I have for you. Let's just say that's the end of your story.
I got into the passenger seat and he started driving. As soon as we were on the road, things started to get awkward. I tried making small talk, but he wasn't really responding, so I sat back and neither of us talked. After a few minutes, he took a left turn.
This guy is about
the
to have
campus was
fun
to the
with
right,
your corpse.
in the complete opposite direction.
Pause.
I felt a lump in my throat and my body got stiff. That feeling of something awful about to happen had fallen over me. Hey, I think you missed the turn, I said nicely, trying to hide any hint of fear in my voice. No, he muttered.
Look how fast this guy's
I was looking over at him, but his gaze was locked on the road. Where are you taking me? He didn't respond. I didn't know what else to ask. I told him to let me out of the car, in one last effort to get out of the situation without anything escalating. He still didn't
Look at how
respond.
fast this man is driving.
The further out he drove, the more remote the area became. My head was aching from the fear of getting too
Oh my
far
days, he
out
looked
to
at
be
her.
able to find any way out of this. I still had my phone in my pocket, which I knew he was going to take as soon as we stopped wherever he was taking me. My plan, and really my only plan, was to try to take out my phone as quickly as possible and dial
Not
911
now.
before he would have time to react.
Not now.
I waited until he started making a turn, and right when he looked the other way, I pulled my phone out and with shaky hands dialed 911. He noticed immediately, trying to grab my phone mid-turn and jerking the car. I was able to keep myself away from grasp while the phone rang, and as soon as I heard a voice on the other side, I
No
yelled for
signal
help,
and
saying the
service.
street names and direction we were going. The man was still fighting me for my phone, hitting me and pulling
Bro,
me
she's
toward
holding him
him.
off though.
In the midst of the
Crash.
fight, he lost control of the car and ran off the road straight into a speed limit sign.
Oh no, don't tell me she got knocked out.
I was dizzy and my vision was blurry, probably from a concussion, but I could hear the operator on the phone talking from somewhere under my seat. I almost forgot the situation I was in, but once it came back to me, I immediately looked over. The windshield was shattered and the airbags were out, but the man I was with was gone. I tried to see out the windows, but he was nowhere. I didn't even remember seeing the windshield shatter or the airbags go off, so I might have even been unconscious for a few seconds or minutes without knowing it. I searched for my phone, telling the operator what happened and that I was okay. Officers came soon after. I had no lasting injuries, just some pains around my body. But what hurts the most is that I was so sure they would catch the man, having his name, description, and license plate. But I was wrong. The car was stolen the day before, which was probably why he abandoned it after the crash. His name was likely fake, although it was a really generic name anyway,
John.
and his Tinder account was removed. So, all they have is a description of what he looked like. I should have been more careful, and I definitely have been ever since. What he planned on doing with me is something too awful for me to even think about. I just really hope that he's not out there trying to do the same thing to someone else.
Long day, lady. Well, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, friends. And I'll be seeing you legends in episode 3. Adios.